Welcome to the North American Star League. Ladies and gentlemen, it's here.
I never knew that when Starcraft 2 would come out that we would have anywhere near this big of a scene internationally.
$50,000 will be awarded to someone that is such a staggering number.
This is not just a game, it's an all-out war.
40 of the world's top players all competing for the title of NASL champion. Welcome to season number 2.
All right, everybody, here we go with FXO QXC and Fnatic TT1. I cannot wait for this because TT1, my good friend, he used to be my ex-teammate. Well, he is my ex-teammate. He used to be my teammate. And of course, QXC, the All-American Terran that all-killed IM in the GSTL. He has recently just gotten a lot better. The guy's in such good form, and I can't wait to see both these players duking it out.
I completely agree with you, Andre. I'm a big fan of QXC myself. Gotten to hang out with him at some MLGs. Watching him be a boss in Korea is always fun. I hear they call him the Bandana Man over there. So should have a pretty awesome TVP here on Xel'Naga Caverns. So TVP Xel'Naga Caverns, of course, natural, really wide open. 2 huge chokes leading from the front end as well as that backdoor entrance. So going to be a little bit harder to defend a natural here, so might be seeing something a little bit safer from these players as opposed to a map like Shakuris, where we might see something like a gasless expansion from the Terran or a 1-gate expand from the Protoss. Probably going to see a little bit more safe plays, something like a 2-racks expand and 3-gate expand, something along those lines, but we'll have to wait and see what it is that these players actually go ahead and choose.
Definitely, the 2-racks expand is probably the more common, but we have been seeing a lot of 1-1-1 coming out from this map, so we possibly might be seeing that. We'll see if QXC, I haven't really seen him do too many 1-1-1s. I really think he's exceptionally good at the just multitasking microing, almost like that select type of style, but to a higher extent. And I know that sounds crazy, but he loves to do that type of style, and I would love to see him do something like that. Nevertheless, QXC is going to just pause really quick. But you know what, going off of TT1 style a little bit, I had the chance to really get down, buckle down, and see exactly what he does. And he loves those abusive economy styles. And what that really means is that he will get economy, he will go for economy, excuse me, get really fast, you know, probes and everything, concentrate everything on that, and all of a sudden he has this premature income that he shouldn't normally be getting against a regular person, or whatever, X person. But he has such a large economy that his opponents cannot keep up, and then he's able to take a material advantage just by yielding so many units.
Of course, but doesn't that also leave him open? I mean, if he's spending all of his chrono boost on probes, that does leave a bit of an opening to QXC if he can abuse that, since a lot of Protoss players do like to use some of that chrono on that early Stalker, that early Warp Gate tech. You can absolutely need to use it sometimes later on your Warp Gates to be able to defend against certain attacks. So I have to wonder if QXC is very familiar with TT1's playstyle and knows that he might have that opportunity available to him.
And let me also say that what TT1 will do is do a lot of mind games. So he knows QXC style. Let's say he was playing against a lot more of a passive player, maybe someone like Show, that's not going to do, you know, a 2-racks pressure. He'll probably do like a 2-racks, kind of sit behind his base, and then just take his expansion because he thinks, oh, I'm going to get attacked. Well, TT1 will know that and say, based on my opponent, I think it's a good chance that if I take a double expansion, there's no way he'll be scouting me or attacking me. I'm going to go ahead and do that just because I know it's theoretically safe based on the assumption that my opponent won't attack.
Andre, you're getting way too much in the mind games for me, man. Too complicated, but looks like TT1's going to be able to scout out exactly what QXC is going for, and he sees the second Marine star. That's an extremely important piece of information to have. If he did notice that, yes, the barracks was blinking again, it did not make an add-on, so that lets him know that it is going to be a quick factory here from QXC. Although, actually, I'm trying to check, did he see the gas? Actually, TT1 was unable to see if QXC has gas or not, so all he knows is that there's one barracks, but he sends his probe in, and he does see the factory. So great scouting there by TT1. Does lose the probe, but he sees the factory, and oh, look at that. QXC with the mind games, man. Cancels the factory immediately. Now TT1's going to be expecting a 1-1-1 play, and instead QXC is just going to go reactor first 2 racks. So this could be a big problem for TT1, as most Protoss players in this situation would drop a pretty quick robo. So that would just leave him a little bit more open to 2 racks than going for something like a 2 or 3 gate expansion. So we'll have to see if you know, QXC is able to pull off some type of early aggression here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what TT1 does. Normally the common thing to do is get that expansion up, and as you said, he'll follow up with Robo just to make sure that he can defend against something like Cloak Banshees. You know, you need to get that individual the observer out just so you have that detection. But nevertheless, we do see actually a 3 barracks coming out from QXC. A tech lab is going to go on the second one, probably a tech lab on the third one too, and he's going to be doing some high aggression in this early game.
Yeah, this is a build we've seen all the way back in beta. Is not done that much anymore because most Terrans do like to get their expansion up a little bit earlier, as the 3 racks is just going to keep you on one base for quite a long time. And as you were right, it's going to be a second tech lab, so we're going to see quite a few Marauders coming out from QXC. Interestingly enough, though, look at that. He's actually going for the stim first instead of concussive shells first. So he is just going to go for a timing attack here right around the time that stim finishes. We'll be able to get concussive, of course, on the second tech lab, so it makes quite a bit of sense. And in, what is it, 150 seconds now, about 140 seconds still, we're going to see a huge attack come forward onto TT1. But look at this, TT1, he's actually not doing the orthodox opening. He actually threw down 2 additional gateways before that Robo. A lot of players go Robo and then throw down the 2 additional gateways after they've expanded when they expect a 1-1-1. But TT1 going for that 3-8, that's actually going to help him out quite a bit versus this.
Yeah, it's interesting. TT1's actually doing a build that I would do if I were playing against a Terran that was just going for a 2 racks pressure. You know, that early game type of play. You get those 3 gateways and then the Robo just in case, because you can get the Immortals out. They're pretty good, and it keeps you pretty nicely for that mid-game era where you want to be getting a lot of Colossus and things like that. So he will have a lot of agency and be able to change around quite dynamically. But we'll see if he's going to be able to live past this beginning game, because there are a lot of SCVs, Marines, and Marauders coming up into the natural. There are probes already there. It looks like he has a lot of sentries out. 1 observer is coming out, but here we go. The engagement has started. Will bunkers be made?
Oh, this is such a risky scenario. There's also Stim still has about 50 seconds left. The bunkers are on the way. It looks like TT1's trying to target fire it down. No, he's not target firing the SCVs, but he does kill off one of the bunkers. Was forced to be canceled. Really great force fields are forcing this infantry to be stuck there, but unfortunately there's not enough zealots to tank, so TT1 is going to be forced to fall back. And oh no, loses all of his probes instead of saving them in the main. Now he's going to lose the Nexus as well. This is terrible for TT1. If he had saved all those probes and just fallen back up the ramp, he would be in a much better position right now. But now he's going to lose the Nexus. He lost a lot of probes. He lost a lot of his army as well. And now QXC will be able to contain his opponent long enough to be able to go take an expansion of his own.
Oh, and TT1 actually goes down. This is so risky. Stim goes off, and it looks like all the sentries are going to be picked off. A very nice job from QXC, microing that perfectly. TT1 has to get back up. Oh my gosh, that represents so much gas. 400 total gas of his army, and of course another Stalker, so 450 is going to just be wasted. TT1 taking just so many losses in that entire engagement, and now he's definitively behind.
He definitely is. It's 57 to 43 food right now. TT1 actually supply blocked after losing that pylon on the low ground. Probably should have seen that coming. Oh no, he misses the force field. Marauders can't walk through that. Well, they can maybe squeeze by. It looks like that fat Marauder is trying to squeeze himself through that little space, but the Marines can certainly get up the ramp. And the force field's gone. He doesn't have another sentry. He's trying to warp in another Zealot. The Immortal's about to pop, but it's going to be out of... Oh no, he takes out the pylon. The Immortal, with like 3 seconds left, is not going to be able to complete. Now a ton of probes going down, and there's the GG. QXC takes game number 1.
And it seems so unlucky for TT1 that game. I don't know what he was thinking, though, going down that ramp saying, hey, I think I could take this Marine Marauder with Combat Shield and Stim. Of course, he didn't know Stim was upgraded yet, but Combat Shield was very definitely obvious to him.
Wow, you know what? I'm going to be perfectly honest right now, Andre. I did not even realize Combat Shield was upgraded. I feel so bad now. But, you know, there was a couple things that went wrong there for TT1. I mean, his build was fine. Going for that quick third gateway before the Robo should have worked out great for him. But the problem was his timing was a little off. I feel like there was some time there where he wasn't actually producing off of all of his warp gates. At this, you know, he just left them while he was trying to produce probes as fast as possible. Yeah. As you said, a bit of that, you know, abusive macro style. And then what he also did was he actually tried to defend that expansion. As you said, he went down the ramp. And he ended up losing the expansion anyway. So obviously it's a hard decision to make at that point in time during a game. But, I mean, that doesn't change the fact that essentially it was a wrong decision. If he had actually just gone ahead, walked up the ramp, saved everything, and just been like, well, I'm going to lose the expansion anyways. Might as well save my units and probes if I'm going to lose it anyways.
Yeah.
And then he'd still have all those sentries, all those units. Then later on, he'd be able to walk down the ramp. And would have been in a much better position.
You know, because he wasn't terribly behind if he just loses the 400 minerals on the Nexus. He can tech up to Colossus. All of a sudden, he's way ahead in tech. He has, you know, a little bit of a mineral deficiency, but because he's been on 2 gas for so long, he has those sentries to force field off. He can just build upon those Colossus, stay defensive. All of a sudden, he pushes out with 3 Colossus, and his opponent isn't anywhere near Starport tech. You're dealing massive, massive damage. But unfortunately, of course, you know, hindsight's 20/20, and also we're able to just look over everything, see like, oh yeah, that's what you should have done, TT1. Very hard to do that in the midst of the battle, and there you have it. TT1 is going to fall to QXC game number 1. So we're going to go into game number 2 in a little bit. We'll be back with more action. Stay tuned.